brain fog and forgetfulness in 4 weeks without drugs or changes to your diet, alcohol, or sleep habits. American doctors discover nature's perfect brain cocktail for a sharp, focused mind, based on official AD treatments in other countries. I knew my husband's brain fog was really bad when I found him lost in the street one day, and he didn't recognize his own name. Dan's memory problems had been embarrassing for a while. He'd draw a complete mental blank while talking to people, so he would either mumble some gibberish or freeze up and stand there feeling stupid. People would look at him like he was crazy, wonder what was wrong with him, and then awkwardly walk away. He had never felt so dumb in his life. In this video, I'll show you how Dan became the sharpest person in the room in only 4 weeks as a 54-year-old, after we discovered the perfect cocktail to reduce brain fog and forgetfulness. Now he wakes up with focus, clarity, and motivation to attack his day. He knows exactly what he wants to say in conversations, and he can think of the right words at the moment when he needs them. And thank God, there's no more brain fog and confusion that made his life a living hell. He's got his confidence back, and I have my wonderful husband back. At first, Dan just had a few mental stumbles here and there. The right words would be on the tip of his tongue, and he'd forget where he'd put his keys. He'd walk into rooms and forget why he came into the room. Harmless things like that. He's in his 50s, so it's normal to forget things here and there. I thought it was cute and funny. Little did I know that his brain was starting to shrink, and that it would get worse before it would get better. After that day I found him on the street, we tried everything. Supplements like magnesium, fish oil, caffeine, and other stimulants. We tried cutting out alcohol and increasing sleep, different diets, word games and puzzles, medications like antidepressants. We talked to different types of doctors, even neurologists. You name it, we tried it. But nothing worked until we found out why this was really happening and how to minimize it, which is what I'm about to share with you. Maybe you also know what it feels like to have the right words on the tip of your tongue, just out of reach because you can't think clearly. It starts with minor little words, but it can get much worse until you feel dumb and confused in conversations with people. Then you can't remember people's names right after you meet them, and you can't remember the sentence you just read. If it ever feels like your cognitive batteries are dying, like only 40% of your brain works the way it used to, then this video may help you get rid of brain fog in as little as 4 weeks. Why do so many Americans struggle to focus? Why do people have memory blanks and can't think of words that used to be second nature to them? Why is brain fog, stress, and confusion causing so many problems at work and home? Why are so many younger people in their 20s and 30s also experiencing the same cognitive decline that my 54-year-old husband suffered from? And why is it so hard to reduce cognitive decline once it started to invade every inch of your life? Groundbreaking, peer-reviewed studies reveal a simple way to reboot your brain cells, so the brain fog is gone quickly. Think of your brain cells as your mind's batteries. These batteries power up your focus, memory, and learning abilities. But if they don't stay charged, then your memory recall could get worse over time, even shrink your brain. So you end up feeling like your brain is only 40% charged, unless you learn what makes brain cells healthy and recharges your mind's batteries. It's true, and I'll show you today. A clinically proven way to reboot the specific brain cells that are responsible for memory recall, storing new memories, and learning. It's based on treatments recommended by dementia associations, PhD researchers, medical doctors, and entire Eastern cultures. And it's so simple, it doesn't even take 1 minute a day to reboot and recharge your cognitive batteries. The simple solution not only helps you remember new information right after you learn it and recall words you want to use in conversation, it also helps you remember critical tasks at work and become the sharpest person in the room for your age. Some even say they feel like a new person. It's a simple way to get your confidence back in your conversations, at work, and in your relationships, and build healthy brain cells so you stay sharp and focused for years to come. It took me months to discover this new groundbreaking research. I finally learned what gets rid of brain fog quickly and also prevents severe long-term memory loss. Because too much long-term damage can lead to AD and other dementias. That's why I was so terrified the day I found my husband lost and confused, and he couldn't remember his name. Terrified that my husband was on a fast track to dementia in his 50s. So this groundbreaking research I'm sharing with you today came out of my burning desire to help my husband with his memory loss, and to help others get their confidence back without wasting a lot of time on money or advice that doesn't work. In fact, the solution I discovered costs pennies in comparison to what we paid for all the other things we tried to help my husband, Dan. We even had expensive visits to brain specialists, like neurologists, who referred us to even more doctors. But there's no need to try all the drugs, supplements, brain games, and restrictive diets they recommend. All you need to do is add one quick thing to your daily routine. And it's the only thing we found that actually works. Even if you have always felt like you have a bad memory, or you watched your parents struggle with memory loss and you think it's genetic, the good news is there's a clinically proven way to reboot your mental batteries and help build strong brain cells. Even if you tried supplements, exercise, sleep, cutting out alcohol, restrictive diets, even if your family has a history of cognitive decline, and even if you're getting older and worried about your brain shrinking as you age. This simple way to promote healthy brain cells has helped people of all ages get their confidence back, so they stop struggling with fuzzy memories and brain fog that makes it so hard to think. They stop freezing up in the middle of conversations, and also reduce the brain shrinking effects of stress, anxiety, and depression. They're able to relax and think quickly on their feet. With complete focus and mental clarity, they can get twice as much done as they used to. Other people think they've taken hard drugs because their performance is off the charts, especially in comparison to the average person who feels like a slug, just trying to make it through each day. But the perfect brain cocktail has no harsh synthetic drugs. It's a natural cocktail for brain health with a clinically proven recipe to get rid of brain fog in 4 weeks or fewer. And it's helped so many people from all walks of life and all ages recover from embarrassing memory loss and forgetfulness, so they feel mentally sharp with full clarity. They're no longer anxious about how the next social interaction will go, or whether or not their boss will yell at them again because they forgot to do something important at work. If you're skeptical, I don't blame you. You may think there's not much you can do to protect yourself against memory loss. And you may have noticed other people accept defeat at the first signs of memory loss. Or they avoid it and pretend it's not there, as if that would make the problem go away. Until one day it gets so bad, but it's too late at that point. Too much damage has been done to their brain cells. So you may think that's the norm, to throw your hands up and accept defeat, or to avoid it and watch the symptoms get worse and worse. But the actual cause of damaged brain cells is never addressed when you do this, even if you go to the doctor and get help. You think you're getting to the bottom of it, but they treat the symptoms instead of the root cause. When you treat the root cause of brain cell damage, you help protect the specific brain cells responsible for your working memory. This is the only way to get rid of your brain fog and forgetfulness once and for all. So keep watching if you'd like to know how this works, because I'm going to tell you more about my husband's journey. Before we learn how to reboot my husband Dan's dying batteries so that he feels sharp when he wakes up in the morning now, his struggles and conversations were one of the first signs that something was wrong. He would forget words, stumble around, or mumble something to fill the silence. People seemed confused or like they didn't want to hear him speak. Eventually, he would just freeze and stand there. He's a mechanic by trade, and it became painful to watch him work. He would constantly lose his tools, and it started to affect his ability to make money. Sometimes it would take him twice as long to do a job than it pays. So he would have made $300 for a whole day's worth of work, but only brought home $150 for the same amount of time. All because he would misplace tools and couldn't remember where he put them. Dan said that people at work would look at him like he was nuts. It was so embarrassing for him. And it was frustrating for me because I had no clue what to do. It made me feel sadness, fear, and anger. So it's no wonder that Dan began to have anxiety and depression. But then we found a simple way to ease his stress and boost his mood. so that he could focus on the tasks at hand instead of how terrible he was feeling. Because his confidence and mood took a turn for the worst after a while. When people start to look at you funny, or they don't understand what you're saying, it chips away at your confidence until you start to doubt yourself and overthink everything. Then we found the perfect brain cocktail, and it's clinically proven to recharge your brain's memory center. It works better than any man-made drug on the market. And Dan had tried it all. First, he tried vitamins and supplements, which boosted his energy a bit, especially with the caffeine. But ultimately, they just felt like a placebo when it came to Dan's problem of forgetting things. Then he tried things like restrictive diets. He cut back on sugar, less red meat, and other healthy habits like cutting back on alcohol and getting more sleep. His energy levels also increased, and he felt a bit better, but it just wasn't enough. It still didn't address the real problem behind his forgetfulness. So at that point, we thought he needed something stronger like medication. His memory had collapsed so much that it was causing chaos in his life. And not just his work performance. He would forget our kids' birthdays, dinners with friends, scheduled phone calls and appointments, and people weren't happy with him, and it made him feel even worse. And one day after he spent too long in his office at home, I went upstairs to get him for dinner, but he wasn't in his office or the rest of the house, which was strange. So I went outside and I found him wandering around the neighborhood, muttering gibberish. I called out, "Dan!" He didn't even recognize his own name. He was in this confused daze. I had never seen him like that before. That's when I scheduled an appointment with the neurologist. The doctor did some cognitive tests and said we might need to do a sleep study. But the only real solution he gave was to prescribe my husband antidepressants. The doctor said it's supposed to help with neuroinflammation. I did find out later in detail how inflammation affects your brain health, but antidepressants are only designed to mask the symptoms. They don't actually treat the real cause of dying brain cells. So my husband took Lexapro on the doc's orders. And while it did help his mood at first, and he had more motivation from the extra dopamine, it also caused a bunch of unwanted side effects, like weight gain, low libido, which did not help our relationship. And Dan continued to have the same problems with losing his tools at work, looking like a fool in conversations and watching people walk away, and isolating himself because he didn't feel like a normal person anymore. The doctor couldn't figure out why Dan was wandering around the neighborhood that day. He said it was a freak mishap and possibly caused by stress or dehydration or even a mental breakdown. So he prescribed antidepressants to calm Dan's anxiety and stress, which was a problem, no doubt. Dan used to be my happy-go-lucky mechanic, strong and handsome, witty and funny in conversations, but he had become a shell of his former self. We were both feeling sad and anxious. Dan started to give up. He became more and more surface level in his conversations. Socializing with people and getting basic tasks done was getting harder. The joy and passion in his eyes were slowly fading away. He was tired of getting so frustrated while fighting his brain. So when we did finally find the brain cocktail that worked for him, I decided to make this video because I know we're not the only ones to climb this mountain. I know how dark it can get when you can't seem to remember anything and other people are looking at you like you're nuts all the time. I also know how frustrating it is to go to medical professionals for help and they just shrug their shoulders like they don't care. But it's not their fault. They're trained to treat the symptoms with drugs. They're not trained to treat the root cause of what's going on with your brain. And some people actually report even more memory loss on antidepressants and other harsh drugs. The drugs can make the problem much worse. I'm sure you're still listening because you want to know what is clinically proven to work to get rid of your brain fog in as little as 4 weeks and protect your brain cells from long-term memory loss that could lead to AD. So I made this video to share what worked for my husband that actually promotes the growth of new brain cells and protects the ones you already have. It's backed by countless studies and it's also very simple. Nothing else was working for Dan. Nothing helped him focus during conversations or remember important things. He barely improved at work. One night we sat around talking after dinner. He told me he was drowning in brain fog. It felt like quicksand, like there was no way to get out of it. Our conversation got darker as he said he's never felt so dumb in his whole life. He leaned in and nearly whispered, "Lisa, I feel like part of my brain has been wiped out. I have blind spots in my thinking that I'd never had before. It feels like part of my personality is gone too. I feel so awkward and embarrassed in ways I never have before. I don't know how to participate in normal social situations anymore." I just kind of nod and act like I know what people are talking about. I know my bosses at work are frustrated, and this is causing so much stress for you and the rest of the family. It feels hopeless sometimes. And then I feel like giving up on life, like it's better if I'm not around since I can't act normal. Well, this upset me. Not only had I lost my husband metaphorically due to his memory issues, he just wasn't himself at all anymore. But now I was scared I could actually lose him for real. The doctors clearly weren't going to help. Their advice was to take magnesium or antidepressants. There had to be a way to figure out what was actually wrong with his brain health. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. I started to research all the peer-reviewed studies on brain health and memory to find out what was actually wrong. That's when I learned there's a specific part of your brain called the hippocampus, and that's the part of your brain where learning and working memory are processed. So I needed to find out how to have a healthy hippocampus. Because it's great to adopt healthy habits like cutting back on sugar and processed foods and alcohol and getting more sleep, all the typical advice from the doctors. They say it will help your brain, but those habits don't specifically target the brain chemicals in your hippocampus. And that's the part of your brain that isn't getting what it needs if you're dealing with brain fog and forgetfulness. That's why you see people with healthy habits who still struggle with their memory and focus. It's because their habits don't target the right part of the brain. Because a healthy hippocampus helps you get your confidence back and feel sharp once again when you wake up in the morning. Helps you remember information you just learned, talk effortlessly in conversations, and enjoy being around people once again. So if you feel like you've tried everything and you don't understand why so many people with bad diets, heavy drinking habits, or poor sleep don't have trouble with their memory recall the way you do, then it may be because your hippocampus just needs a battery recharge. The hippocampus is the center of learning and memory in the brain, and the brain cells in the hippocampus are often the first to be damaged. That's why memory loss is often one of the earliest symptoms of AD, a type of dementia. These brain cells can be damaged by stress, depression, and anxiety. Stress causes inflammation, which disrupts the balance in your brain chemicals and throws off your brain's ability to build synaptic connections between neurons. And neurons are critical mechanisms for memory recall and learning. They're little messengers that deliver information to your brain. They help your brain know which information it needs to recall quickly. Synaptic connections link your neurons together. But if synaptic connections are broken, then your brain cells can't talk to each other properly. They start to die. That means your brain stops telling itself to remember certain information. Then your brain doesn't remember and retain information properly. So if it feels like your batteries are drained and your brain's all foggy, remember, the mental batteries that charge your brain are your brain cells, and those batteries really can go dead, just like real batteries do. If you want to keep your mental batteries charged and get rid of your brain fog and forgetfulness so you can feel sharp and mentally clear and get that way in a short matter of weeks, then you need to find a way to support existing brain cells in the hippocampus and to help build new ones. You need to prevent damage to synaptic connections between neurons, because eventually, if there's too much damage to synaptic connections and neurons, then your brain cells die and the brain shrinks. Your symptoms can get worse and lead to dementia if enough damage and brain shrinkage happens. As you may know, dementia is a condition where you eventually lose your memory altogether. At its most extreme, you can't remember how to take care of yourself. That's because so many brain cells have died that it's irreversible. The good news is that you can actually influence the brain chemicals that are clinically proven to support healthy synaptic connections and brain cells in the hippocampus. These chemicals are called neurotransmitters, and they help strengthen and build the synaptic connections between neurons. That means all you have to do is get the right cocktail of neurotransmitter chemicals, and you will have a full recharge of your cognitive batteries. Say hello to clear thinking, feeling competent in public again, and being a rock star at your job and your relationships. There's a simple way to do that, and it only takes a few seconds each day to get a boost to your mood and get rid of brain fog quickly, so that you love life once again and thrive in your relationships and career. Through this breakthrough I'm about to share. Many folks who are getting older and concerned about their brain health have turned to expensive doctors, harsh drugs, and restrictive diets. My husband and I wanted to figure out what would actually help him. And we noticed that so many people we know have bad memory issues despite all their efforts. Even going to see neurologists and functional doctors doesn't seem to help a lot of people. I looked at all the brain support supplements available, but they were disappointing. Some looked promising at first, but once I dug into the research, I saw that they only had a handful of the right ingredients needed to get rid of brain fog quickly. They didn't have that perfect cocktail. Even worse, they have other ingredients that can make you jittery and feel sick, keep you awake at night, and give you all sorts of side effects like headaches and nausea. I kept looking for the perfect cocktail of ingredients because I knew that healthy eating and antidepressants weren't going to fix Dan's brain fog and forgetfulness. And I held out hope for a great brain health supplement backed by science, one that makes you feel calm and relaxed, focused, and mentally sharp. So I broke down every ingredient I needed for the right balance of neurotransmitter chemicals in the hippocampus. First, I needed to find what naturally gets rid of stress, anxiety, and depression within days and without any side effects. It needed to be potent. That's why all the conventional options didn't work. Antidepressants make brain fog and memory loss even worse for some people. Plus, your body becomes dependent on them, and the withdrawals make you sick. But this first ingredient was crucial because stress is a major cause of inflammation, which destroys the right balance of neurotransmitters, especially over a long period of time. This can interfere with working memory and cause cell damage in the brain's memory regions. Research presented at the 2006 American Psychological Association Convention suggests that repeated stress remodels the brain in the wrong way. It causes neurons in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex to shrink. To put it simply, stress weakens your brain cells and shrinks your brain. Stress can also lead to depression, which is linked to memory difficulties. So not only is it important to stop the negative effects of stress on the brain right now, but we also need to prevent the side effects of stress, like anxiety and depression, because those can lead to more brain fog. Nature actually gave us a pure chemical from plants that treats depression and anxiety, called hyperforin. Research published in Molecular Psychiatry shows that scientists found hyperforin so effective for depression that they're working on a new class of antidepressants based on their testing with it. Germany's Institute for Anatomy and Cell Biology found that hyperforin protects hippocampal cells and has anti-inflammatory properties. But we have more threats to brain cells in your hippocampus than just stress. Because there are chemicals that become toxic once they reach certain levels in your brain, and that means they also damage brain cells if they're not kept in check. One of these is called glutamate. The hyperforin plant keeps glutamate in check so it doesn't reach toxic levels. But there are more neurotransmitters that need to be managed if you want to get rid of brain fog quickly. One of them is called acetylcholine, and this neurotransmitter plays a crucial role in learning and memory. This specific neurotransmitter helps your hippocampus form new pathways so that you retain information and remember things better. Of course, we want more of this neurotransmitter too. So I looked for an ingredient to add to the perfect cocktail for brain health and make sure that it works well with hyperforin. And I found it in another plant called Huperzia serrata. What's interesting is that this plant has been used for centuries to treat dementia in China. The plant has been intensively studied in China. In fact, a specific chemical from the plant called huperzine A is approved as the drug of choice for AD disease treatment in China, but it's just now making its way to the rest of the world. Groundbreaking research was published in 2021 in the International Peer-Reviewed Journal of Chemistry Molecules, and it proves huperzine A is a good treatment for AD. The researchers think huperzine A could become a common treatment for AD in the Western world and ease the burden from this awful disease on its victims and their caretakers. Of course, I wanted to prevent serious damage to Dan's brain cells, even getting to that point. But even more than that, I wanted Dan to get immediate relief from his brain fog and working memory issues. He needed to be a sharp mechanic once again, to be present in his relationships and in public, and get his confidence back. So how does Huperzine A promote healthy brain cells that keep your focus and working memory sharp? It prevents acetylcholine chemicals from breaking down in your brain cells, because if it breaks down, then you have lower levels of the chemical, and you need more of it, not less of it, because acetylcholine is anti-inflammatory. As mentioned before, inflammation from stress will mess up the balance of critical neurotransmitters like acetylcholine. And when you lose too many of these important chemicals in your brain, then connections between brain cells can't form properly. That means your brain stops telling itself to retain information. So you forget how to focus. You're full of brain fog, and you can't remember things. Huperzine A keeps more acetylcholine in your brain. And the Journal of Neuroscience reported that acetylcholine is one of the most important chemicals to maintain good working memory. If you are struggling to remember names, words, why you came into a room, tasks you need to get done, and other short-term information that helps you make decisions, then you may benefit from an increase in this chemical. So, as I continued my research, Huperzine A looked like a potent yet natural addition to the perfect cocktail, without the side effects of synthetic medication. At this point, I thought I might have the perfect cocktail already to improve Dan's forgetfulness. Because I found hyperforin, which would ease stress and inflammation and keep glutamate chemicals at healthy levels, and Huperzine A would increase acetylcholine chemicals, which is depleted in AD patients. Surely that's all Dan needed to get his confidence back. Winning cocktail, right? Dan did improve, just not enough for our satisfaction. His working memory was better. He could remember more information, like which tool to use at work and where he last placed them. And people's names and the right words were starting to come out of his mouth more often, but it was happening too slowly. He would remember the info minutes later instead of in the right moment. It was like he was moving in slow motion. It was a big improvement over his usual behavior, which was to freeze up and just stand there, or get frustrated and need time to recover from the stress. Slow motion was better than no motion. And I was happy that parts of my husband's personality were back. But he was still taking too long to get his mechanic work done. It was clear that I needed to find ingredients to improve Dan's processing speed. There was a lag between his thoughts and his working memory. They needed to catch up to the actual moment he needed the information. No more lag or delay. We wanted automatic recall of information. Snap your fingers and it comes to you. This period of trial and error took months. But it was silly of me to think that 1 or 2 supplements would improve all of Dan's cognitive issues. Brain cells have to manage a lot of neurotransmitters and complex processes to stay healthy, and a lot of research on these processes is brand new. Some of it was even published during my time of research, so I was discovering it in real time as it was being published. Of course, there wasn't a comprehensive brain formula yet, since this research was so new. Dan added conventional supplements back to his regimen that he hadn't tried in a while, like fish oil for the supposed benefits of omega-3s, and magnesium to relax Dan even further and minimize stress. But Dan didn't make any more progress. Nothing seemed to work to get Dan's mind firing on all cylinders. Dan wanted to be sharp, focused, in control, relaxed, happy, and confident. He used to feel like his mind's battery charge was at 40%. Now it felt more like 60%. But we wanted him to feel a full charge, at least 90%, if not all the way to 100%. So I went on a hunt for an ingredient to boost his processing speed, because his memory was better, but it wasn't fast enough or powerful enough yet. I found another plant chemical used for thousands of years as a brain tonic to improve information processing speed and memory recall. This one was from India. It seemed like ancient Eastern cultures had figured out a few health secrets that we were still discovering in the Western world. I was starting to catch on. Recent studies confirmed what the traditional Indian cultures knew all along, that this herb called Bacopa monnieri could effectively increase my husband's information processing speed. I found an incredible study published in the international peer-reviewed journal Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine. Medical schools in Thailand tested this biloba herb on a group of 62-year-olds. They tested how the plant affected multiple areas of working memory, including reaction times, processing speeds, quality and accuracy of information, and attention spans. The results were stunning. Daily supplementation of the biloba herb led to a significant increase in information processing speed. The improvements remained even 4 weeks after the test subjects stopped taking biloba. But even better, the longer the test group took biloba, the more they unlocked the full cognitive benefits of the herb. As more weeks of daily consumption continued, they increased their attention spans, reaction times, and processing speeds even more. The test group experienced no toxicity or side effects with biloba supplementation. The researchers considered biloba a good option to help treat mild cognitive impairment, early phase AD disease, and attention deficit disorder. Let's take a step back for a second. Did you ever play the game Hot or Cold when you were a kid? That's where your mom or friend would hide a toy and make you guess where it was hidden. The closer you got in your guesses, the hotter you were. Well, I knew I was getting hotter in my search for the perfect brain cocktail. This recipe was potent, while still natural, unlike anything prescribed at a doctor's office. And this cocktail actually addressed the real causes of working memory issues, while still providing quick relief of brain fog and frustration. All that was left now, after my biloba discovery, was to find any missing ingredients. So I looked for more ingredients that support healthy neurotransmitter levels in the hippocampus. And I found acetyl L-carnitine, a natural amino acid proven by many studies to maintain and increase levels of the important chemical acetylcholine, which again is significantly deficient in the brains of AD patients. A Japanese study also showed that acetyl L-carnitine specifically helps aging brains because it was found to improve age-related issues with working memory and learning ability. So this amino acid provides additional support to maintain good acetylcholine levels in your hippocampus as you age. The Korean Dementia Association found acetyl L-carnitine to be effective as a treatment for AD, ADHD, depression, and other neuropsychiatric disorders. But believe it or not, I still wasn't done looking for the perfect brain cocktail for Dan. I wanted to cover all bases and leave no stone unturned. Brain cells, synaptic connections, and neurons have to manage a lot of chemicals to stay healthy. I couldn't assume that more acetylcholine would be enough to completely fix Dan's forgetfulness and hazy thinking. So I looked for more ways to strengthen the health of brain cells in the hippocampus. And that's when another Chinese plant entered my radar. And I found out that it helps build new brain cells as you age through a process called neurogenesis. So as you age, your brain can adapt by creating new cells, which of course is harder to do the older you get. The plant extract, Ginkgo biloba, holds the key to creation of new cells through neurogenesis. And the creation of new cells prevents long-term memory loss. It keeps your batteries charged, so to speak. In clinical studies, this plant extract also improved working memory in only 1 month. Working memory was Dan's most immediate concern, of course. We needed his recall of information in his working memory to happen faster. I was enthusiastic about adding Ginkgo biloba to the mix of ingredients to see if Dan's short-term progress would speed up even faster. But at this point, it was tedious for Dan to take so many capsules. He started to complain. Every individual supplement made him take multiple capsules for each one, sometimes 4 or more capsules per supplement every single day. But I didn't think the perfect cocktail existed all in one supplement. I found all these groundbreaking studies independently of each other, until I discovered that a group of American doctors had been doing similar research. And unlike me, they had their own laboratory. So they figured out how to combine the ingredients into one formula, along with other ingredients that I had not yet uncovered in my research. They called it the mega cocktail. I know it may sound like a political rallying cry, but in this case, it's more like a rallying cry for your brain health. And the M stands for mental clarity increase. The A is for alertness improvement. G is for growth support. And the A is for advanced brain support. So I went ahead and ordered this mega cocktail, hopeful that my long days of reading peer-reviewed research and medical journals would be over. and that my husband Dan would finally find his memory repaired, his vocabulary back to normal, brain fog completely gone, with lightning fast focus and clarity in his thoughts and speech. So Dan started to take the Mega Cocktail, and still does to this day. Only 1 capsule per day. He was so happy about that. No more forcing him to take 10 horse pills a day. He felt a newfound clarity and focus that first week with the Mega Cocktail. It was definitely working. And within the first 4 weeks, Dan felt like the sharpest person in the room. His personality was back. He no longer felt hazy, distracted, groggy, foggy, or depressed in the morning when he woke up. He could jump right into his day and get into deep focus and deep work at his job whenever he wanted to. He no longer misplaced or lost his tools. He could work fast and get more jobs done. So our bank account started to look good again. My favorite part of it all was that Dan was cracking jokes and making me laugh again, instead of stumbling or freezing up in conversation like he did for the past year. He was back to his old ways of charming everyone who crossed his path. No more brain fog, forgetfulness, frustration, or depression. Thank God. Other people noticed that he felt better. They used to walk away in the middle of conversation with him in discomfort, but now they wanted to know his secret. Dan has a passion to help people and a soft spot for anyone who is suffering. So he knew he could make a big difference with his story, even save some people's lives. That's why I decided to make this video and help tell the world about the Mega Cocktail. Now I can share Dan's story with anyone on the internet and not just the people who ask about it in real life. Between the Mega Doctor's clinical results and the people we know who tried the Mega Cocktail, we know this formula is worth a shot if you want to avoid expensive doctors who give you synthetic drugs and shrug their shoulders. Danny Harlow said this formula was the only thing that helped him stay sane during COVID restrictions. It really cleared up his head. Chris Standish used this formula to finally get his master's degree after so many years of putting it off, and he stayed sharp enough to get his dream job. He feels that everything is easier when you have a clear mind. Now the formula is open to the public so more people can enjoy the same results. And you have the chance now to charge your cognitive batteries with the perfect brain cocktail. It's called Q-Charge, and it's the only science-backed solution with this formula, created by medical doctors to protect the brain against stress and age-related damage. It gets rid of brain fog within weeks. It speeds up your processing times and improves your working memory within 4 weeks. So there's finally a simple way to say goodbye to forgetfulness and all the frustration that comes with it. All you have to do is take 1 capsule a day, and in as little as 4 weeks, you can feel like the sharpest person in the room. Wake up without any hazy brain fog, stay focused on tasks at work and in your relationships, and do it all safely with nature's perfect brain cocktail, used by Eastern cultures for thousands of years to protect brain health, now making its way to everyday Americans after new, groundbreaking research. All you have to do is reach into your cupboard each morning and take a capsule of Q-Charge.
As a woman in her 60s, I was worried about the cognitive decline that comes with aging. I was experiencing brain fog, difficulty in concentrating and forgetfulness, which was affecting my daily life. But then I discovered Q-Charge, and it has been a game changer for me. I've noticed a significant improvement in my ability to think clearer, concentrate better, and remember things more easily. I feel more mentally sharp and focused, and it has positively impacted my performance, both at work and in my personal life. Q-Charge has truly unlocked my cognitive potential, and I can't recommend it enough, especially for those in their golden years.
As I approached my 60s, I started experiencing cognitive decline, which was concerning to me. I was struggling with brain fog, forgetfulness, and difficulty in concentrating, and it was affecting my quality of life. But then I started taking Q-Charge, and it's been a game changer for me. I feel more mentally alert, and my cognitive function has improved significantly. I can now think clearer, process information faster, and retain information better. Q-Charge has helped me regain my mental edge as I age, and I'm grateful for this amazing supplement.
As a woman in my 50s, I started noticing that I was struggling with brain fog and forgetfulness, which was impacting my daily life and work. I was finding it difficult to concentrate and stay focused. But then I discovered Q-Charge, and it has been a game changer for me. Since taking Q-Charge, I have experienced a noticeable improvement in my cognitive function. My thinking is clearer, and I'm able to recall information more easily. I feel more mentally alert and sharp, and it has positively impacted my productivity and my overall well-being. I highly recommend Q-Charge to all women who want to keep their brains sharp at any age.
Now that you know exactly what's causing your forgetfulness and why words seem to be on the tip of your tongue, and why you can't remember why you went into a room or where you put your keys, and you also know the mega cocktail that can make your mind sharp and get your confidence back, whether you're in your 20s or 30s and struggle to pay attention, or if you struggle with low mood or motivation, or whether you've been through a few more storms and you're feeling the effects of aging. Now you know that the brain needs extra protection at all ages, especially as you get older. And you've heard about several people who got rid of their brain fog quickly and now feel sharp the second they wake up each morning. Then let's talk about what comes in the natural Q-Charge formula that's clinically proven to charge your cognitive batteries. First, there's St. John's wort from the hyperforein plant. Scientists found this plant so effective for depression that they're working on a new class of antidepressants. St. John's wort also keeps neurotransmitter levels in check before they get too toxic and cause damage to your brain. Huperzine A. This natural plant is already approved as the main choice for AD disease treatment in China. Now you can conveniently take it with your daily meal. Bacopa monnieri, used for thousands of years in India as a brain tonic. This enchanted plant significantly increased the processing speed of 62-year-olds in only 4 weeks. And those people still enjoyed the same mental benefits 4 weeks after they stopped using Bacopa. Get rid of your brain fog in only 4 weeks with this formula. N-acetyl L-carnitine HCI. The Korean Dementia Association found this amino acid to be effective as a treatment for AD disease, ADHD, depression, and other neuropsychiatric disorders. Take 1 capsule from your cupboard every day and watch your stress and low moods melt away, while your focus, clarity, and quick access to your working memory increases at the same time. Alpha-GPC. This natural chemical found in the brain is shown to improve acetylcholine levels in the brain, which you now know is a critical neurotransmitter for brain health. In clinical trials, alpha-GPC improved cognitive impairment in patients with AD disease and vascular dementia. It's proven to promote the proper mix of brain chemicals so you can think clearly. Ginkgo biloba supports the creation of new brain cells through the process of neurogenesis. This plant was shown to improve working memory within 4 weeks. L-Glutamine. This naturally occurring amino acid helps maintain balance of brain chemicals by increasing glutamate when needed for alertness, learning, and memory. Without glutamate, there is no memory and no learning. PTD-L-Ser. This fatty acid found naturally in foods like meat and fish has been shown to benefit patients with AD. Studies have shown that it significantly improves cognitive function, memory loss, emotion, and daily life quality in patients with AD, especially in the early stages of AD. This is because it promotes healthy hippocampal neurons and the right levels of acetylcholine. The natural plants and compounds in the mega cocktail have been shown to have no known side effects, whether they're taken together in Q-Charge or separately. Let's talk about the best way to try out Q-Charge for yourself. Since you're still watching, I know you want to recharge your mind's batteries too. So the people in your life, friends, coworkers, strangers, all compliment you on your mental clarity and focus, begging to know the big secret to your productivity and good mood. I know you're still here because you don't want embarrassing brain fog that ruins your self-confidence and happiness as you stumble through awkward conversations with people until you finally give up and accept defeat. No, that's not you. You want to be present and sharp, feel in full control of your mind and what you're about to say in conversations. You want to have fun while you're around other people with no stress or anxiety. And this is the quickest and most inexpensive way I've found to get rid of your brain fog. But there is one important thing to note. Since I believe in honesty, I have to tell you that Q-Charge might not always have the prices you see today. Inflation is not going away. And the reason they've been able to keep the prices so low is because they create Q-Charge themselves. They don't pass along any extra costs to you because they don't have a middleman creating the product. They'd rather spend more money to make the formula great, rather than pay more money to a middleman. So keep that in mind. They've been keeping prices as low as they can. Q-Charge goes straight from their lab to your doorstep, and that's how you can assure premium quality. So while they may eventually need to charge $100 a bottle for Q-Charge, which is an amazing deal if you keep in mind that it has plant extracts used as official treatments around the world to prevent and treat AD. But Q-Charge wants to make this affordable for anyone. The price is incredibly low right now, so you won't even have to spend $100 today to finally get the mental clarity and focus that you want. You won't even have to spend half of that, because right now, since you've stayed with this video all the way until the end, you've unlocked their best discount they can offer, a 6-month value package. The 3-month and 1-month packages also have good discounts. Not as big as the 6-month package, but still a huge steal. You can only get these deals as a first-time customer of Q-Charge through this video. But I would recommend you order your package now, because these big discounts probably won't be around long. When I told Q-Charge about Dan's story and how much we like to help others with the same issue, they wanted to team up with us and offer an exclusive deal together. Q-Charge didn't tell me how many bottles they're offering at these special discounts, but they mentioned that they would take this video down after they sell out of their current stock. And then after they produce more Q-Charge, they'll raise the prices to $99 a bottle. So this is your big chance to try out the perfect brain cocktail for yourself. Although you'll start to feel better within a week, you'll start to feel really good about 4 weeks into daily use. But since you're serious about getting rid of brain fog and keeping it gone, then you'll likely want the 6-month package, because the results build over time as your brain chemicals find a healthy balance and your stress levels go down day after day, week after week, and month after month. Dan and myself and our other friends who have tried Q-Charge can't imagine life without it. We don't have any plans to stop taking a capsule every day. It's never been easier to take control of your brain health. All the package options come with our 60-day money-back guarantee. New customers can try Q-Charge for a full 2 months. So if you don't experience life-changing results for yourself the way that Dan and countless others have, then you can get every penny back, no questions asked. That's how confident we are in this formula and the incredible research behind it. If you're not satisfied, then you get every penny back. You can consider it a free trial of Q-Charge. There's zero risk here and everything to gain if it works out well for you. I just want to see you as happy, calm, and productive as Dan is now. And the truth is, the people who don't take action right now and try this out risk-free will always have to worry about memory issues and brain fog, making it harder to reduce their problems the longer they go without a real solution. They'll lose confidence as they continue to forget more and more important things, and people will look at them confused and wonder what's wrong with them. I don't want people to go through that embarrassment. I saw how badly it affected my husband, and I don't think anyone has to go through that, because my guess is that within a few weeks of daily Q-Charge supplementation, you'll already start to feel sharper and clear-minded. It might even surprise you how well and how quickly it works. This will build your confidence right away. So go ahead and press the button to place your order now. Choose the package that suits you best right now. Get the 6-month package if you're serious about taking care of your brain health. Consider one of the other package options if you're not ready to make that commitment yet. They're all at a discount through this video link, or until Q-Charge runs out of their current supply. That could be in 1 day or in 1 month. I'm not really sure. So take care of your order right now. Try out Q-Charge every day for a full 60 days. And if it doesn't get rid of your hazy brain fog and make you feel happier and more focused than ever before, then it won't cost you anything at all. Not a single penny. I'm confident that I'll be hearing your success story soon. Click the link below and order so we can both find out. I can't wait to hear from you. Take care.